Hi, April.
Hey.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing just great.
Good.
What can we talk about today?
Well, I guess you can say I'm experiencing a lot of, I don't even know, different emotions with my life. I just graduated, moved back home, so I'm living back home with my parents. My family's very close. I love my parents, you know. My brother, who's 2 years older than me, he was living at home, and we lived together about 2 months, and he just recently moved out. He's recently engaged. They're about to get married, so he just moved into their house. And so that's a different change, and I don't know if you want to call it, I'm worried about it, and, you know, slightly frustrated and other things, because his fiance is just, you know, she's beautiful, she's great with children, but those are the only, you know, and I never felt that way about somebody, but those are like some of the only qualities that I see in her. You know, she's been very babied. I mean, I'm the youngest, and I've been babied. I'm not trying to say that, but every little thing is her. She has to be coddled, and you know, a simple frustration. You know, that I don't know what to wear. You know, most normal people just might sense a little frustration, but it is a scene with her. You know, just very dramatic, very, you know, and it's causing a lot of stress on my brother because he's not very resilient. You know, he's 24. You know, he's not mature. I don't even think they should be getting married, but I'm not who am I to say that. You know, but it's just it's causing him a lot of stress because she's over the top. I mean, you know, she says that she doesn't want to work.
Right.
That's her thing. I'm not going to work. But yet my brother said, you got to work, you know. Right. So my mom pulls strings and gets her an excellent job, you know. You know, a job that maybe I would want, you know, but she's like, you know, kind of like, I'm excited, but then she kind of shows up late. You know, that's just not, who does that? And then, like, they got him a beautiful house, you know, bigger house than we grew up in, you know, rent-free, because it's one of our family members, you know. And she says, I can live without, but yet she tells my brother she's going to leave before Christmas if they don't have new furniture. You know, there's just a lot of, I'm trying to like her, but, you know, it's just really frustrating because I can't tell him that, you know. Right.
Sounds like you're feeling a little bit out of control in this situation, and you may want to have a discussion with your parents and your brother, but you feel maybe you can't go there because you don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah. And it's exactly, again, like, my parents obviously know that she's little over the top. You know, they're not blinded, but it's like my mom tries to be very optimistic because she's worried about my brother, you know, as a parent would be. Right. She's like, let's not borrow trouble. She'll either grow or it's not going to work. Right. And that's easy to say, but when it's one thing after another and he calls her, like, what do I do? It's just like, you can tell the girl to grow up. You know, like, I can't do that because if I said something to my brother, he probably would call it off. Like, if he knew I didn't like her, he'd be done, you know? So
you feel if you were honest with your brother, you might cause something catastrophic to happen in his life, and he may not be okay. So
he'd be devastated, I think.
Do I hear that you maybe feel a little bit responsible for your brother at times, and you feel your mom's really, is she handling things the way that you said? Your mom said, let's don't borrow trouble. What do you mean by that? Can you explain that to me a little more?
Well, she obviously knows about her. Right. But I think she's more worried about my brother's psychological stance. Right. And she's trying to focus on him versus her, I guess. Right. So when we're coming out home and I'm like, can you believe what she did? Right. She's like, I know, but let's, you know, we can't, he's got to make that decision, which is ultimately true, but it's getting to the point where I'm like, I feel like I can't keep my mouth shut, you know?
Let me ask you to go with me. If you could see the perfect person for your brother and his perfect marital situation, can you tell me a little bit about what you see? down the road?
Oh, like what I would want for him?
What you would want for him?
Just someone who's emotionally supportive.
Right.
Don't have to be perfect, but somebody who, even if she was, want to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever, at least she's this girl. She's lazy, very lazy, right. And they've lived in the house 3 weeks and hasn't cleaned up one little thing. Right. So she don't eat hardly. She's beautiful, but she's just picky and she don't clean. So like, if she would be a stay-at-home mom who would keep the house clean when he came home, emotionally supportive, but it's like when he comes home, it's like it's all about her worldview is her. Right. So just somebody who just has some gumption, So I mean,
sounds like she's very different from you.
Yeah.
And you're finding it hard to relate to someone who may be a little more. Maybe you would like to call her a diva.
Yeah, that is true.
Maybe if you had some conversations with your brother and just brought up some things. It sounds like you're very mature. Sounds like you're wise beyond your years. Sounds like to me that you really do have his best interest at heart. And let me go back to explain to me a little bit more about when she said if he didn't meet her expectations, she was going to leave before Christmas.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I'm from Goldsboro, a little small town. She's from Charlotte. Right. They met here at ECU. But, she's always said, I don't have to be near a city. I've moved to Inc. There's nothing in Goldsboro, but my dad owns a business. He owns a restaurant, pretty successful. My brother wants to take it over. Laid it out from the very beginning. If we are going to date, or if you want to see a future with me, it's going to be in Goldsboro. This is where my business is. This is where my life is. I'm going to be here. So, and she's like, oh, that's fine. I love you. I'll live anywhere with you. But it's like she comes back and it's like she'll say, I give up this to come live here with you. I give up, just all this stuff. And like, I'm not going to live in a house with mixed match furniture because they don't have the money. My brother's 24. He just started working. Sure. And he saved every dime, and like she's been fired from several jobs. Right. That's a red flag to me. Okay. Yes. And all she has is student loans. And we finally got her a job, but now it's like her money is going to be her spending money, which is fine later down the road, but they're just getting started. It's just like, I think he told her one time, right now, maybe later on down the road, but right now you're going to eventually have to start paying your little bit of paycheck, just the groceries or something like that. Right. And it's like, that makes her mad. She's going to throw a fit, calls her mom, just call. And that's another thing that makes me mad. Anytime they get in a little fight, she calls her mom and then she threatens to leave all the time. I just don't think you do that.
Well, it sounds like you've got some very valid concerns. Have you offered the suggestion of are they going to have any kind of premarital counseling?
Yeah, that's one thing my mom is helping them get into. Right. So, I mean, we've done some things, and this is another thing. Well, they get in fights all the time over, stupid things. And, like, on vacations or stuff, when they get in fights in front of us. So it's kind of like, you gotta say something. They're like, what's going on? What can we do something? My mom's a counselor, so she's like their counselor. Right. She calls my mom when she's mad at my brother. My brother calls. It's just like, it's immature, and it's just like, I just don't think they're both ready.
Well, it sounds like you want to take a step forward, but you're afraid if you take a step forward, you're going to be actually taking 3 steps back in your relationship with your brother. That's valid. I can see where you would be walking on shifty sand, so to say, dealing with that.
Yeah.
I feel that you are just wise, and I feel that you just love your brother, and I think if you search yourself, and I think you already know what to do. Seems like to me, as you and I are having this conversation, you know what needs to happen, and you know the next steps to ensure his happiness, maybe?
Yeah.
What would that be?
Well, I know they found a church home, so we've encouraged, we make sure we validate. We're proud of y'all for going, you know, because me and my brother are close, but we're not close enough where I'm like, I know that I've seen them fight so much where I don't want to be like, how's she feeling today? You know, like, are y'all having a tiff today? How many good days have you? I mean, we're not going to be like that, but, and it's sad because when he calls my mom, he's like, would April Grace do that? You know, and I'm just like, no, you know, like, and I want to be like, and I think he's to the point where he almost sees it's not working, which is scary because I think he sees it's not working, but I think they're so advanced in the relationship. It would be embarrassing to break off an engagement when they're so close. You know, and I don't want it to keep on progressing. She really wants children. She's good with children, great with children. She has an older sister, has niece and nephew. They're little. She wants to go have babies, so they're close in age. You know, all that. But I'm just scared if they brought a baby into the world or something, and they're not meant for each other. That's just.
Sounds like I hear you saying you don't think definitely they're meant for each other, but I heard you say he's beginning to have a little bit of questioning in his. What are some things that he's doing that make you sense, hey, he might be getting a light switch maybe coming on. This may not be.
Yeah, I mean, he's expressed it, not to me, but to my mom about, well, we'll see how it goes. If she can't hold down this job and she's whatever, then maybe it's not going to work. You know, he'll say things like that. So I know, but I just feel like, would he really pull that string? Will he really call it off? Or is he just, because he does care about her. But I just don't know if, because I know my mom's trying to do everything to make sure they're, making sure they're happy, checking in with them all the time. It's causing her a lot of stress. And I'm just like.
So that bothers you because you see the stress your mom's going through, and you perhaps see your mom thinking, you think your mom has some red flags?
Oh, yeah.
And your brother's beginning to have some red flags.
Yeah.
You obviously have some red flags.
Yeah.
So maybe, have you tried to have a trip with just your brother and your mother to talk things out without distractions?
I mean, that probably would help, but I think, I don't know.
Do you, let me revisit something you said. When you said he called your mom and said, would April Grace have done that?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, my mom says, he'll say, I'm the perfect female.
Right.
Not exactly, but.
Right.
And then, like, whenever she acts out, it's like, you think April Grace would do that? And my mom's like, no. Because she's very dramatic, and she's like, you have to understand, girls are dramatic. You gotta, and I'm just not.
Right.
I've always been very mellow. My brother's high anxiety, too.
Sure.
Scotty's very intense.
Right.
So their personalities definitely clash.
Right.
He needs somebody more laid back because he's intense,
So I'm hearing you are the basis of which he bases how a lady and a future wife should act.
Which makes it harder for me to say,
right,
I don't think she's the one.
If you could have that conversation, well, you said earlier, if we had this conversation, you don't think he would go through with it?
No, absolutely. That's what even my mom said. We need to be careful about what we say, because even my mom, him too, but he talks more to my mom. And I think if I definitely said something, it'd be like he would break up with her. It'd be done, and he might even be devastated. He'd be devastated. He might love this girl, no matter what. But if I said something, he wouldn't follow through with it.
How do you see him in the long run, though, versus if he ends it now? How do you see his life in the long run, married to this person? What do you see happening?
Very stressful life, I think.
So would it really be any different?
True.
Now than it would be, as you said, you brought up if they have children. How do you feel about that? You said, Lord knows if they have children.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. When they get in a fight, she'll not call when they were apart. She wouldn't talk to him for 3 days.
Right.
And that's scary to me because she might move back to Charlotte and take the children and maybe not talk to them,
That's a valid feeling. That's a valid feeling.
So I just don't know, because she's very, but then there's a side to her that's very sweet. If you meet her, she's gorgeous.
Sure.
My brother and her look like